Imagine being arrested, not for stealing, not for violence, but for wearing the wrong kind of clothes, or facing punishment just because you whistled at the wrong time of day. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But the truth is, some of these bizarre ancient laws still exist, quietly hidden within the modern world. Throughout history, rulers and societies have tried to control behavior through strange rules, often rooted in superstition, religion, or the desire for power. While many of these laws faded away with time, a surprising number of them have never fully disappeared. And today, we are going to uncover some of the strangest examples of ancient laws that continue to shape life in ways you'd never expect. Let's begin with clothing. In medieval Europe, rulers were terrified that ordinary people might appear too much like the nobility. So they created something known as sumptuary laws, rules that dictated who could wear silk, velvet, or even certain colors. Wearing the wrong fabric could result in heavy fines or even imprisonment. And while it may sound outdated, echoes of these laws still remain. In Bhutan, for instance, citizens are required to wear traditional dress during public events and in government offices. Today, it's seen as a symbol of cultural pride, but the roots trace back to the same ancient obsession, controlling how people looked. Now let's talk about chewing gum. In ancient Greece, people chewed a resin called mastic, which was considered sacred and tied to ritual purity. Public chewing wasn't just about habit. It was about status and belief. Fast forward to modern Singapore, and chewing gum is heavily restricted. It was banned because it was seen as damaging property and cleanliness. But just like in ancient times, what you put in your mouth became something the government decided it had the right to control. Food itself has long been the subject of bizarre laws. In Japan's Edo period, eating beef was outlawed for centuries, largely because of Buddhist influence and the belief that killing cattle was spiritually harmful. The ban was so strict that breaking it could mean severe punishment. And while Japan has long lifted that restriction, the idea still exists elsewhere. In many parts of India today, the slaughter of cows is illegal, a direct continuation of ancient religious laws that view cows as sacred. Some laws were based not on food or clothing, but on sound. In medieval Britain, whistling indoors was associated with witchcraft and evil spirits. Certain notes or sounds were believed to invite demons. While that may sound like medieval superstition, there are still remnants of it today. In the Canadian town of Petrolia, Ontario, there's a bylaw against whistling or singing loudly after 11 at night. On the surface, it's about noise control. But if you look deeper, it's a law born from the same ancient fear of sound disrupting order, peace, or even the spirit world. Animals weren't safe from strange laws either. In medieval Europe, it wasn't unusual for animals to face actual trials. Pigs accused of attacking people could be dressed in clothes, placed in a courtroom, and even sentenced to death. There are actual records of goats, cows, and even insects being put on trial as though they were human criminals. While today we no longer drag animals into courtrooms, traces of this thinking remain. In some parts of the world, elephants or camels can be legally punished for damage, with their handlers held responsible as if the animal itself committed a crime. Then there were laws about ghosts and the supernatural. In the Roman Empire, conjuring the dead, practicing necromancy, or disturbing burial sites wasn't just frowned upon. It was a crime. The idea that the living could interfere with the dead was seen as dangerous to society. And in a strange way, that kind of law still exists. In the state of New York, fortune-telling is technically illegal unless it's performed strictly for entertainment purposes. The law is a modern descendant of ancient bans on witchcraft and spirit summoning, where the unseen world was something governments felt they had to regulate. Perhaps one of the strangest laws of all was the prohibition of dying in certain places. In ancient Japan, it was forbidden to die in the emperor's palace because death was considered unclean. Imagine being on your last breath and being carried out just to keep the place pure. Believe it or not, a version of this still exists today. In the Arctic town of Longyearbyen, Norway, death is technically illegal. Because bodies do not decompose properly in the frozen ground, burials are banned. Residents who are terminally ill are transported elsewhere to pass away, making this one of the strangest modern reflections of an ancient idea that even death can be outlawed. And then there's the peculiar law of the royal fish. In medieval England, any whale, sturgeon, or dolphin caught near the coast automatically belonged to the king. These were known as royal fish, and incredibly, this law has never been repealed. Technically, if a whale washes ashore in Britain today, it still belongs to the crown. A strange but true remnant of a medieval world where kings claimed ownership not only of the land, but even of the creatures in the sea. All of these laws remind us that history is not just something we read about in dusty books. It is something that still shapes our everyday lives, often in the strangest ways. From what we wear, to what we eat, to how we behave in public, many of our modern rules have roots that stretch back centuries, even millennia. So, the next time you complain about a strange law in your town, remember, things could be a lot stranger. You could be forbidden to whistle after dark. You could be banned from dying in your own home. Or you could even be told that your clothes are illegal, simply because you look too much like a noble. These ancient laws may sound crazy, but their survival proves just how deeply history is woven into the fabric of our modern world. Laws, no matter how strange, are never just about rules. They're about control, belief, and the eternal attempt to keep order in a chaotic world. This has been History Vault, and thank you for joining me on this journey into the bizarre. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unbelievable tales from history. Until next time, remember, sometimes the past isn't gone. It's still here, quietly living in our laws.